Hello everyone, welcome back to the Cronecast at the Rising Moon. Today I have a pick a card reading for you. What transformations are headed your way? What areas of your life are about to transform? What big changes are headed towards you? There's piles 1 through 3. You're going to have a moment here just to concentrate on the cards to see which deck kind of stands out to you. That's going to be the message that you're most meant to receive. But what area of your life or what big transformations are headed your way is the subject of this reading. Take a moment, concentrate, see which one really calls out to you. That will be the message for you, and I will see you at the time of your reading. Hello everyone, welcome back. If you chose pile number 1, this is your reading. We're putting number 1 over there so that people can easily fast forward to the readings. There are timestamps in the description box down below. We're going to use a wisdom oracle and then other oracle cards as the reading reveals the need for them. Let's get going today with the tarot at the end of the rainbow, which is a deck that I really enjoy. Can you tell me what transformations are coming towards pile number 1? What's about to transform in their life? This comes out with the 3 of Pentacles in the upright. Looks like it's going to be about a creative matter or a work matter. Hey guys, before I get started, don't forget, if you want to book me for a private reading, the only way to do so is through my website at The Rising Moon. Please don't forget to do things like subscribe, hit that thumbs up button. It's the thing that helps my channel and makes it possible for me to keep doing these. And I have a podcast called Logical Magic, Examining Esoterica. Check that out for lots of healing advice and basically advice on how to continue on your spiritual path to find your purpose. All right, what do we have here? This is a very interesting one because it's the 4 of Pentacles, I believe. No, I'm sorry, it's the Emperor card. It's the Emperor card. Interesting. That's the card for Aries, but it's the card of wise personal choices. It's also the card of personal power. It's a good card in the upright. Remember, I don't really read much by astrological signs, but it does look to me as if like things in your, particularly your work life, are going to start having better flow. Things will start making more sense to you. Here we go. Let's keep going here. 1 and 2. I'm using an infinity spread. I almost always use an infinity spread. That is coming out with the Devil in reverse, which is exactly what we want. And then I have the Knight of Swords in reverse as well, which can be messages. It can be anger. I feel like it's messages this time. So let's pause here. Remember, an infinity spread, 4 here, 4 here. It reads like a sentence in both ways, and then they all interrelate. It's a little difficult to explain it. I do have a Patreon coming up where I'll teach some spreads and things. It honestly is like you're going to feel more inspired and as if you have more control over your life. You've really resolved a lot of your interpersonal issues, potentially relating to substances or codependency. I love the Devil in reverse. Whenever I get the Devil in reverse, I take that as a good sign. The Knight of Swords has multiple meanings for me. And one of them is about learning how to control anger in this particular energy. If that's been something you've been putting work in on, if you have a fiery temper, and people with a lot of power often have big everything. They have big happy, they have big sad, they have big mad. Remember, you never really get to stand down, but you're going to start seeing the ways in which you've improved in a lot of ways. So it's like your personal emotional wellness will go back to feeling like you're just kind of, you're not at the whim of an internal situation any longer. If you've been through, and everybody has been through trauma in the last essentially 4 years because everything was upended, and you've been in a slightly erratic place with your mood and with your energy and with the pace of things, know that this is all starting to flow together better. That you're going to start feeling as if you have more personal control over multiple areas of your life. That like it's kind of like a I defeat all who come towards me energy on this one. It's coming out with the Queen of Swords in reverse. I don't mind the Queen of Swords in reverse, but that can be things like, you know, facing a truth or doing research. The Queen of Swords in reverse is a difficult energy when it comes to anger because it can be somebody who uses their words to hurt other people. I'm not seeing it that way here. I really am seeing it as if there's going to be greater clarity and new things coming to you, but you'll feel very at ease with them. It's as if you've learned how to be flexible again. Like, I think for a while you might have had tunnel vision trying to get to a very particular point, and then you'll have that kind of I have arrived energy. And it looks to me like you're more like, no, there is no arrival point. There's simply the journey at this point. It comes out with the Queen of Wands in the upright. Love the Queen of Wands. And it is very much about seeing manifestation here. Hey, listen, like the pace on things, particularly if you have a bad temper or if you struggle with your temper, and please remember I do. Like, people will talk to me and I think they're afraid that I'm a hothead or something. I'm really not. It's just that I genuinely have a tremendous everything. Like, everything in me is at, and like the dial goes to 11 inside of me. And the dial goes to 11 for the people in this pile as well. And it really is as if the pace of things was trying to help you learn how to shelve frustration. Because frustration was one of the things that kept you from making good decisions. It caused an impulsivity in your life that it wasn't that you like spent frivolously or anything that I can pick up around that, but it really was that you would act definitively over and over again to get to a point of getting things done so that your frustration would be tweaked out. And it looks to me like you've certainly just kind of learned to coexist with it in a way. Like, this is a person who's learned a lot of lessons and put in a lot of work on how to talk to themselves, on how to talk to others, on how to recognize their own emotions as they're happening, rather than to, in retrospect, figure out what happened. Queen of Wands is a compelling figure. She gets a lot done. She has a lot of charisma. She has a lot of sex appeal normally. She's a manifesting energy as well. And remember, it's not a gendered thing when I use the pronoun. The queens in tarot are about things that are gestating in order to be manifested. But the Emperor card in the upright, again, just so much personal power with that. 8 of Cups in reverse. Coming back into yourself, coming back into the new version of you. It's, if you felt like you were a work in progress for the last few years, know that like that part of your life is closing out and that there are new beginnings on this. And you will be surprised to find out that like your anger was actually associated with something. It was associated with a situation that happened where you felt like you had no personal power or control. And that like you've dealt with it. Like, you've unpacked the emotional suitcases on things. With the 4 of Wands in reverse, which can be an attachment energy, we're going to take our 2 clarifiers here. The 4 of Wands in reverse, it didn't actually take the wind out of my sails there. What I really think it is that you have resolved we all have attachments, they're spirit attachments. I've done a podcast on it. I'll try and attach it here. When we have big energies, there are attachments that are attracted to them. And it really is as if you have resolved a lot of your attachments. And one of them does have to do with frustration and anger. Like, you're very difficult to trigger for other people now. And that was one of the things that kind of held back your success, was that other people had too much influence over you sometimes. And now you're aware of it when it happens, and you kind of talk yourself down off of a ledge is what it looks like. Because this is somebody whose personal power is informed by like understanding that part of themselves. That it isn't that parts of you are broken and parts of you work well. It is that they all interrelate, and that you understand that the methods around keeping yourself in a healthy energy so that you can have success, this is very much about a successful energy. And it could be in interpersonal relationships, and it could be in things like relationships. I really am simply getting that it's being about like being in a safe and a sturdy energy. Like, you put together the toolkit here. This is just releasing of an attachment is what it looks like to me. And it does appear to have been around impulsivity. That comes out with the 10 of Cups in reverse, which can be about a divorce. It can be about an unhappy situation, but it's being released. I have 2 10 of Wands in reverse. That's the start of new cycles. Personal fulfillment will come a little bit more easily to you. The area of your life that is starting to transform, though, is your emotional response system is something that is more, you know how to treat it like a friend instead of the thing that you're fighting against. You may have had trouble with repressing your emotions and not understanding them in the past, but going forward, watch for this in your interpersonal reactions, because all of the work you put in on learning how to have an effective inner dialogue, how to talk to yourself through things, has helped you get a handle on your personal power, and now you can use it to manifest what you want. You're returning to a point in your life in which you're not at the whim of, like, I want to say your darker side or your lesser nature, and that there is a tendency towards an attachment which has to do with frustration or anger. It can be called wrath. But you've learned the methods around how to cope with your anger so that it does not blow up your personal happiness. And is this the card of somebody potentially being single after a long-term relationship? It is. But I'm not seeing anything terrible around that. With the Ten of Wands in reverse, that's like setting down the burdens of the difficult relationships in the past. And I really just have this feeling like you're forming a better relationship with yourself going forward. And it has allowed you to feel less pressure around external relationships because you formed a better internal one. If this doesn't describe you, it's just not the message for you. And that's not a judgment. You can try a different pile. General readings, they can't all contain, there are millions and millions of people out there, so they can't all contain a message for everybody who tunes in. But this is somebody who put in the work, in order to release likely generational trauma around it, and to learn how to coexist with yourself in a loving way. So that's what's transforming, is that it's less of a battle. It's less of a hi ho, every time I turn around, there's work to be done. And there's better flow with this going forward as well. All that glitters, okay, that's a be careful energy around what you value. With truth be told, it's a fairness energy as well. It's also the ability to know what is for you and what isn't for you. And by the way, if you've wanted things that weren't for you in the past, kind of don't worry about that. It happens to everybody. It's a learning experience. And then we want one more on this here and now. A lot of energy of trying to value what's in the present. It's almost as if, like, things took so long that you were forced to be like, well, okay, that's not working out, that's not working out. What do I have in the here and the now? And that's like by the way, if you haven't achieved this energy yet, that's the key. The key is to start evaluating what's really going on in the here and the now, to be able to ground yourself, to be able to stick with the methods you have put together to heal. Because I almost exclusively appeal to trauma survivors as a reader, because I am a trauma survivor, it can be one of the hardest things to do, is kind of tying off the loose ends of those wounds. But this is the pile of somebody who's the transformation, and it's now. It's happening right now. And if you try to evaluate where you've been with your feelings and being a little bit, it's like you learned how to respect your feelings more. It's like you learned how to respect your feelings more. That's the best way I have of putting it. Loneliness. I know that I'm never alone. And then I have surrender. I can release my need to control. And then I have abundance, which is I'm a limitless being and I can manifest whatever I desire in the physical reality. Sometimes we can't, as we are asked to resolve the work that we came here to do. If you're in my collective, you have a purposeful journey. Listen, the whole thing with if you valued personal relationships over your relationship to self, personal relationship to others in the past, and now you're like, no, I just hang out and chill in this energy, see what the world is bringing to you. See what the world is bringing to you. It apparently is going to mean a lot less to you in a very healthy way. Meaning that you likely are having new connections in both work and in personal relationships coming towards you. The abundance thing, it really was that you had to give in and do the work that you were being asked to do. Because there's this energy of somebody who just, it's like they got locked in an almost empty room, so they had to learn how to figure out themselves. And it went on for a really long time. But it's over. It's already over. you can feel that part because you're no longer when, and it's like instead, these are the two cards that came out. The time of guilt and shame ends now. Forgive yourself and begin to love yourself just as you are. A light-filled angel is at your side. It watches over you at every dark doorway. As one of the reasons that you had to learn how to work with that, because it was never about shaming you, is so that you could have direct access to your own guidance. Whatever it is from the past that you did not like about yourself, you've learned to respect it as an understandable part of you, and things will flow far more easily going forward in every area of your life because of it. This is actually a genuinely good draw. What the part of your world that is transforming is your emotional regulation issues that like many CPTSD and PTSD survivors have, is that if it felt for a while like you were pet sitting an uncontrollable tiger or something, it's like, oh God, there it goes again. It doesn't feel that way any longer. Instead, it's this part of you that you know and have more respect for it. It's like you learn to stop shaming a part of yourself and start treating it as being like, well, of course that part's there. Why wouldn't it be? Somebody put a lot of effort into forming it. And now you've put a lot of effort into, it's weird, loving and accepting it as being not a vulnerability nor a flaw, but is simply another part of the energy that makes all the things about yourself that you do like possible. One of the things I used to say to people who are at the beginning of their journey, love ended up on the back of this, by the way. One of the things I used to say to people at the very beginning of their trauma journey is that you can learn how to be the version of yourself that you like the most all the time if you put the healing work in. And that's what I'm seeing here. Will like frustration and anger always be the thing that you have to be like, I treat that with the utmost respect because it has been the most destructive force in my life? It looks that way. It looks that way. But it's like it learns to turn a corner and fuel creativity going forward. Let's see what chunk fell out here. Thorns, weathering the challenges ahead will bring a new and positive future. With the world, be open to new possibilities in all areas of your life. And then plain, a journey is indicated either physically or metaphorically. Your life will become more full. My feeling on this is that you have learned how to navigate your challenges. That like you've accepted that like no matter what like many spiritual workers put forward about how positivity and always keep it and like never admit doubt, but it's like you've learned that it's completely normal and human to have frailties, to have things that you're working in conjunction with. And you know how to weather your challenges in a way that opens your world up to you again and there's progress being made. You're finally moving forward in a meaningful way, and that's very shortly. And they're not going to give you, because this indicates that you may have had issues with codependency or compulsivity, you're never going to get a ton of details as to when and where it's coming from, because it can trigger something in you. And if you're really the person who's done all this work, you recognize that and you're like, no, that's good. Vagueness is good around things are going to improve. Okay, hi-ho, I will continue to work. If it has felt like your efforts have been fruitless, they will begin to bear fruit. Everything was held back not to like punish you or keep you in a jail, but to make sure that what came to you could be retained without those things getting in the way any longer. And like, again, this is a general reading, so it can't really have the personal specifics of what's going on. That's what personal readings are for. But this is simply telling you that if you've been putting in all this work, don't think it's that your rewards are coming to you now. And I really do mean now. It really is about there are no more blockages for you. You've learned to rely on your own guidance. The loneliness and surrender and abundance was like being with yourself until you could treat yourself as your best partner, instead of looking to an exterior source. Codependent people, remember I am codependent, had to recover from it. Did I? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Will I always have to be really vigilant around it? Probably. That's normal. That's normal for any emotional vulnerability that we have. But if you've suffered from codependency in the past where you hoped that somebody else would help you feel safe or help you figure things out, or like you needed the steadying voice to affirm or validate your own choices, you won't need that any longer. And that's what this whole period has been about, is making you, and it really was making you, is allowing yourself to simply coexist with you instead of you were never trying to fix yourself. Boy, if that's what you think, you were never trying to fix yourself. You weren't trying to like patch up terrible holes inside of you. You were trying to understand that integral part of you that is as valuable as the stuff that you love. It just, you never learned how to have a good relationship to it. Like that horrible temper that I'm seeing here is the exact same thing that fuels you to keep going sometimes when odds are against you, to make the difference that you want to. Good heart. This is Empress Lang's deck. I recommend it so much for people who are particularly dealing with any forms of trauma, because most trauma is generational, carried forward. People, particularly who are victims of abuse, frequently came from families in which nobody learned any better, so nobody knew how to do any better. And the good heart is apparently spirits fell in love with your stubborn heart. If you suffer from stubbornness, trying to force things through, it's like you see the futility of trying to force the pace of your journey into what you want, and you're far more likely to look for the value in what is brought to you. Ancestor spirit team. Yeah. So this is an important one, because if you have been trying to resolve ancestral karma, you did do it. You did do it. And the part that you can't see and you can't know is that you set a whole bunch of energies free with all of the work that you did. And I think you've long understood that the reason those people didn't deal with their own crap was they didn't live in a time that helped them understand that, and you do. All the good parts of you are what come up easily now. The darker shadow side of you is always still going to be there, because it's all still attached to you. It's all a part of you. But it's as if you have learned robust self-care. And by the way, if this is your pile, the way you view external relationships has fundamentally changed. You don't think they define you. You don't look to them to help you figure out you. Instead, you figured yourself out quite a bit. With signs, and then be happy. There's a very happy energy around this. I know the Ten of Cups in reverse. Here's the thing. I really get the sense that this is the pile of people who had the dissolution of long-term relationships, or potentially aren't in contact with their families any longer. Because that loneliness energy, you really aren't alone in this journey. You have guidance. But it is also about being able to rely on self first, so that nobody can misuse your intent or your love or your gifts, because you wouldn't allow it, because you do not need another person any longer. And that Ten of Cups in reverse, does that mean remaining single? It can for some people. The sense I get here is that you're not listening to this for that reason. That you're not hoping for, please let it be about love. You're more like, please let it be about everything that would make me love my life more. And it's not that this pile is not giving off an energy of screw other people, but rather I've learned to value myself as much in my journey as I would who's accompanying me on it. And that's really what it is. You have this independent energy now. That's what you always needed to step into in order for things to start happening. Let's check the Shaman's Dream Oracle, which is Mindful, which is groupthink, mindfulness, and then Wailing Tree, which is reconciliation, with Covenant, sacred contract. It is almost as if you battled a family dragon. That's the best way I have of putting it. And if you have loving relatives who have not caught up to you, remember, as soon as you detach the things that were holding you back, they lose their hold over those in your family. It really does just take one person breaking free. So the area about your choice, your life that is about to transform is how you feel about your life, how you feel about your emotions, how you feel about it. I guess I'm just trying to tell you is that you're well. That you're well and ready to release the emotional burdens of your family is what this looks like. You have no idea what your life will be like without these generational trauma energies or generational curses. Being the thing that is wholly defining of your experience, but you're about to find out. And by about to, I really just listen, there's not time frames because everybody does have an individual journey, but I kind of feel like it's now. Like a part of you should be nodding along with this reading going, that makes sense, that makes sense. I put in the work and I am seeing the results. The biggest thing that is transforming for you is that there's no longer a chore list of to be done, and now it's just new things beginning, having released the burdens of the past. Okay, so the area about your, like a new chapter is beginning in all areas of your life, how you feel about everything, yourself, and relationships as well. Doesn't mean there won't ever be challenges, it's just that your methods will now carry you through them. Pile number one, that might sound like it's not all that exciting in the details. It's like you have felt like you were in a prison, and now not only is the door standing open, but the bars are gone. Pile number one, that was your message. Thank you so much for joining me. If you want to book me for a private reading, @therisingmoon.com is the only way to book me. Please don't forget to subscribe. My podcast is Logical Magic. Go forth, be well. You worked hard for it. Welcome back. If you chose pile number two, then this is your readings. The Crystal Tower will be bringing you your infinity spread. Wisdom Oracle is going to contribute some cards, and we're going to get going here, but please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. It's what makes me doing these readings possible. And I have a podcast called Logical Magic, Examining Esoterica, if you'd like to check that out for more healing advice. And I have a lot of healers and people who are interested in esoteric subjects. Let's get going here. What area of pile number two's life is about to transform the most? What big changes are headed their way? Here we go. I have Three of Cups in reverse, a card of isolation. Sometimes it can be third-party interference. As we heal, we are asked sometimes to be by ourselves until we understand ourselves so that we can't self-sabotage as easily. And that comes out with the Four Swords in reverse, which is actions being taken. Boy, you must have felt like you were like the only inhabitant of a planet or something for a while. Because there is this energy of like, everywhere you turned, there you were, mostly by yourself. With the Tower and the Upright, well, that's a big change. For me, that's the Divine Intervention card. It can be complete and sudden change. Some people will see it as failure and things. I rarely do. It depends on what comes out with it. With the Four of Wands and the Upright, that looks like a good change to me because the Four of Wands is a spirit guide card. It can be contentment. It can be long-term relationships. It can be a deep connection to others. It comes out with the Six of Wands and the Upright, progress and success, a social media star card as well. Coming out with the Page of Pentacles and the Upright, having learned all lessons. I want one more in this Ace of Cups in the Upright. Well, I like that. The big change that's coming to you is in your emotional fulfillment. With the Ten of Pentacles in the Upright, delightful. And then we're going to take our two qualifiers. Hey, this pile's awesome. There's just no way around it. What area of your life is about to transform? It's more like what area of your life isn't about to transform. You spent a lot of time making progress on your personal journey, finding out why you're here, understanding yourself. A lot more action is coming into your life. There are big changes in your money and in your emotional happiness and in your connection to others. Let's check these guys. Comes out with the King of Swords in the Upright with the Ten of Cups in reverse. Let's put that in the opposite energy. Lots of good energies here. For some people, potentially like a new home. I have multiple moving cards. This is one of the cards for a new home, as is this one. We've got 10 in the upright, 10 in reverse, King of Swords, which can be clarity and good judgment. It can be air sign energy. It can be people coming towards you as well. It's a very logical energy. It's a very logical energy. I really, like, I'm searching for how am I going to put this? Everything's changing in your life. It's a tower that comes out with nothing but positive around it. And if you notice, we've got 4 in reverse here, tower in reverse, and then 4 wands in the upright. Remember, when you get one number in reverse and one number in the upright, that is talking about the area of your life that is about to transform or be, it's called the download code. And it's, 4s are about like stability and contentment and like having a strong foundation. The thing that's really coming off here is that apparently any financial deprivation that you've been experiencing is going to be kind of gone, baby, gone. It does look to me like if you are single, that like that is an area that you're going to that you're going to want to maintain. Meaning that like enough is happening that you're like, I want to prioritize me. I worked really hard to get here, and it's the thing that I want to focus on. Let's get your wisdom oracle cards going here too. 1 and 2 and 3. I don't have any warnings on this, other than if you've put together a method for self-care, as you get busier, as things happen, adhere to it. I know it can feel a little tedious sometimes, but it is the thing that has made all this possible. We have co-create. You're in co-creation with the universe. I do not read any oracle cards in reverse. I have never found them to hold up. And there's an oracle, an owl on that, which is about messages and progress. We've got a cheetah as well, I believe, and that's about swiftness. God, something's changing big time. Time to go. It's a moving energy. A lot of movement in this one. With no place like home. Yeah, looks like some people are getting a new home. For some people in this, like the place of residence is changing in a way that's going to make you much happier. It does look like you're less focused on who will be there with you and more focused on, well, what's it going to mean to me going forward, which is an important thing to have. Let's for you guys, I'm going to use the Endure cards. I use the fortune reading cards on the first one. The stars, a long journey brings rewards, serendipity, bright new prospects are on the horizon. Y'all, as I'm saying this, because it's supposed to be one area, it's like, guess what, guys? It's all areas. Like, if you've been working really hard on something, expect breakthroughs all over the place, because that's one of the energies of the tower. And it comes out with the hand of fate. Good Lord. Pile number 2. A lot of fateful occurrences coming towards you. This time next year, you will not recognize your life. And in a good way. In a really good way. Like if you're kind of in the poo right now or have been for a while, then know that that's the area that it's like, no more of that. This is such a positive pile. If you've been working hard for financial security is arriving in a great big thud. If you have been working hard for your business to start taking off, as long as you have accomplished your healing and like have a healthy attachment style, which takes work, it does take work, then that's the other area of your life as well that is transforming. It's like your menu of choice has opened up again. If you almost felt like you were on something's leash and like they won't let me move, they won't let me move, they won't let anything happen, it's like they're removing all restraints. A lot of success energy around this. This is something that's not necessarily in the cards. Just have really sound judgment around who tries to be a part of your life. Just have really sound judgment. There's a part of you that's no longer grateful in a you are validating me way for people telling you that you're good or something, or like it's different. It's not that you're ungrateful, like don't bother me. It is more that you're no longer looking for encouragement or validation from exterior sources. Let's keep going here. I love this reading. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here, let's keep going. What have we got for pile number 2? Anything else? We're using the Soul Helper. Pile number 2, this is just excellent energy. You have had so much success in overcoming multiple things. You've had to learn so many lessons about how to, again, kind of coexist with yourself. And it likely was very uncomfortable, because it almost always is. But big, big changes in your personal happiness. Please don't be surprised if you become so personally happy that, like, the idea of relationships, it's going to take somebody with a sledgehammer and a battering ram to ever get super, super close to you in a way that might in any way jeopardize your personal happiness again. The feeling I've got on this is somebody got put through the damn ringer on relationships, and they're no longer investing at the same level. And it's very, very healthy. And I actually, when I say it's going to take somebody with a sledgehammer and a battering ram, good. Because I think in the past, you were the person who was willing to put in all the effort and take crumbs from the table of somebody else. And now somebody's going to have to build the table and cook the meal after shopping for the food before you're going to be like, okay, maybe. And that's the right place to be in. It's not cold, it's not distance, it's not a runner's energy. It is that it's like you know your value now. You cast a spell with your existence. To conform is to die. Be brave and be yourself. You're not trying to do things in the way others tell you to do either. You're able to harness your own personal power a great deal. You're able to tap into guide messages. Hey, there is one thing I want to add. If you don't feel like you've met your guides, you're going to feel more like you can tell distinct energies going forward. That it may not be what you've been told meeting your guides are like, because there's a lot of, I don't want to say misinformation, but there's a lot of an expectation that, like, they're going to take the shape and the form that we understand as, like, you used to be a tailor and you used to be a commander. You're going to understand that it's more of a universal energy in some areas and that there are individuals, but you're going to understand and be able to differentiate between the type of guidance that you're getting. Because that's the part that you've struggled a little bit with, is there's like you have guides who are in charge of your personal wellness, and like they're the ones that have like kept you in like almost a holding facility. And then you have ones that are in charge of your everything else. Like, what are you doing in this life? Who are you meant to be with? Who are you meant to be around? Who are you meant to exclude? And like not in a like I judge you way, but rather in the you don't belong in my life way. And so you've been kind of, the reason that you don't know the separate energies very well yet is you've been dealing with like your medic team all this time. Those aren't your only guides. Those aren't your only guides. There's going to be more and more diverse information. Look to branch out. You're going to be branching out quite a bit. That co-creation and the time to go. Be open to the new things that are coming to you, even if it's quite surprising. Because this is a card of surprises. In the past, if you haven't liked things like coming out of left field and being like, you're going to do this next week, you have this great opportunity, like this is the pile of a person who they're willing to roll with that and see what comes with it. And the other thing is that you've learned to take setbacks really, really, really well. And that was a part of this journey as well, is like you had to learn how to cope with rejection. You had to learn to cope with sometimes people from their own damage and pain, like trying to take swipes at you because they're just, it makes them feel like they have some power in their life to see somebody react. You're not reactionary towards what other people do any longer. And you've also learned that you don't owe everybody a response. Like just because somebody like reaches out to you, you don't necessarily respond. That will keep you very safe going forward, and it opens up an entirely new vista in the things that you're willing to do. You're going to be a lot more adventurous going forward. We've got traveling lightly, simplify your life. I don't think that's what it is. I think you're moving. And it's pretty shortly. Like, this is not a long-range read. It's not. This is not likely to be one that is completely fulfilled. Like, oh, this will happen over the course of the year. This is like a more imminent energy. And like I said, you will not your life is going to be so different by this time next year in a lot of different ways. And in ways that one of the things we learn about our spirit guides is that we can ask for what we personally want. I want to manifest to this. I want to manifest to that. Our guides are really about our purposeful journey, what our soul wants to learn. And this one's transformation. A fresh new way of living emerges. That's a phoenix energy. Discovering truth, you stand in the light of truth. Hey, pile number 2, like this is not the world's longest reading because who doggies, like what's transforming everything? And it is going to be over the course of about a year. It is going to be over the course of about a year. You can be a little closed off to connection. And that's the only area that they're trying to get you to remember. It's like, keep working on that one. Please keep working on that one. You don't take it in another extreme direction. Meaning that, like, if you used to be too reliant on other people or feeling as if you were battling some codependency, the answer is not then, I stand alone in all things. It is that you're more likely to turn to self to figure things out now than to an external force. But like I said, don't come to a place where you're exclusively doing that. It's the one proviso I have on this. And get ready on the feeling of like new guidance coming in, because they've always been there, but it really has been like you've been in the care of something for a while. And those are the guides that you know best. And honest to goodness, it's like you don't... They're almost like physical therapists who are always forcing you to expand your abilities, and so you kind of maybe don't like you don't view them as like they love the heck out of me. It is more like, yeah, I work with them and for them, but like I don't know if we even like each other. They had to do everything that was best for you. And it comes from a very good place of love, but that's the part that I feel like is coming in. That like you're going to feel very loved by some things that are guiding you in a way that you haven't, because your emotional fulfillment is going way up. Now, this might be some sad news for people who are very focused on relationships. I don't think that you're super open to a committed relationship. If you're already in one, like it looks like you're very focused on self, and like it kind of, I'm going to say, recedes into the background. It doesn't bear a lot of weight for you. You're more into what am I here to do? Because this is not the pile of somebody who's deeply connected to another person, but rather deeply connected to their purpose and to the idea that they are working with something. This is a very working type of pile, meaning that lots of things are happening around the things that you've been trying to do. There's a very good creative energy with this as well. Mindful, which is groupthink. The last group got that as well, which is a little bit weird for me. I'm going to cut it so I can get a... And then I've got Woodwives, adaptability. Hey, that is almost exactly what I said earlier, which is that don't be surprised if your ability to be like, okay, you want me to do a cooking demonstration? I can do that. Like you're very open to new things in a way that I don't think you ever were in the past. And it is not that you've changed radically, it's like you've accessed parts of yourself that you never got a chance to know. Survival mode is moving to thriving mode for this particular group. Energy around this is just great stuff. There's nothing I could say to improve on that. What area of your life that is transforming is look for something really quickly, by the way, in terms of work. For everything else, it comes in from multiple directions. And your ability to adapt is the thing that you have been developing over the course of, I just kind of want to say at least 2 years. That like you've lost a tenacious hold on it has to be my way or it can't be at all. Instead, you're like, okay, well, what do you want me to do then? And again, that thing with like feeling like your relationships to your guides are the things that are really coming through as something that is just wildly different like where you almost feel like they're friends in a way that I don't think you view your guides currently. I think you've really struggled with the idea that they're loving presences when from your standpoint, it's like they pretty much never let me do anything. That's why I'm saying it was almost like you were in the care of a medic team. We're like, nope, sorry, you can't do that yet. You can't eat yet that. You can't have that yet. That they were really like making you get healthy so that you could do what you were meant to do. But that's not your limit. It's almost like you're in boot camp. like honest to goodness. And now you're gonna be, we've compromised. That's an interesting one. It's like you will be able, you've learned to do that, by the way. You've learned to compromise your vision, not in a, I compromise it and it degrades, but rather it's like, okay, well, if you need me to do that, I'll do that now. Like you're less centered on want and need and more about possibilities and feeling things. It's actually very good. I knew it. Within the next few weeks, remain positive. And the compromise within the next few weeks, listen, something's starting to take off there. It looked financial to me. In a good way, in a very good way. The areas of your life that are transforming is that it really is like you're being sprung from, I kind of want to call it a rehabilitation center, but like that has like an imprisonment kind of ring to it. It's not that. You really were in like a form of physical therapy only for the soul. And your relationship to your guides is going to be vastly different because they're no longer your drill sergeants. Like if you felt a little bit like they're jailers and they kind of suck, that's only part of them. And they do that job to help you and never, ever, ever take it personally that you don't seem to have a ton of affection for them because from your standpoint, they don't seem to have a ton of affection for you. They do. They were always trying to do what was best for you, but every single area of your life is transforming. And like I said, this time next year, you simply will not recognize your entire life in a very good way. Pile number 2, that was your reading. What's transforming? Heck, what isn't? If you want to book me for a private reading, you do so at therisingmoon.com. It's the only way to book me. Don't forget to check out my podcast, Logical Magic, Examining Esoterica. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscription button. Don't forget to hit that post bell notification so you know every time I post a video. Lucky, lucky pile number 2. Have fun with all those beautiful blessings headed your way. Welcome back. If you chose pile number 3, then this is your reading. Hey, everybody's going to get a wisdom oracle, and we're using the Radiant Sun Tarot for your predictive spread. Before I get started on what area of your life is about to transform the most, what big changes are headed your way, don't forget to subscribe, please. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. It's part of what helps make me doing these readings possible. And if you need to book me for a private reading, that is done exclusively through therisingmoon.com. And I have a podcast called Logical Magic, Examining Esoterica. This has been a fun reading. What area and what is about to transform for pile number 3? What big changes is heading the way of pile number 3? I have the Lovers in reverse, which I love the Lovers in reverse. It's a card of being like whole within, being in alignment with your highest self, having good choices available to you, and like having the correct guidance on how to make them is kind of what I want to say. The Moon in the upright is a card of natural forces at work. It can be confusion. It can be magical forces as well. It's one of the cards of sometimes confusion within, but it's almost like they're not going to tell you something so that you can't kind of prevent it. Like, and not in a bad way, in a sort of like, listen, if the details are sparse on the ground here, it's not because nothing is changing, it's because it may not serve you to know about it. It's the Pisces card as well, with the King of Cups in reverse, which is a card of, sometimes it's a card of narcissist, sometimes it's about emotional fulfillment and emotional regulation. Let's see what's coming out with that. That's the King of Wands in reverse. Okay. File number 3. This is an interesting one. I want to get you the underlying issues cards down. King of Wands in reverse can be a card of frustration and anger. My honest sense is that your emotional world is becoming something that's your friend again versus something that you're trying to always work out. Like you've solved the puzzle that is you. Like confusion is the feeling that's changing here. Like if you have been confused about the path or the pace or what has happened, it's like things will make a lot more sense soon. It's almost like your actions yield more than they used to as well. If you guys are hearing any kind of funny sounds in the background, my dogs both just ran up the stairs and are panting in the background. We have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, which can be a downturn in fortune in the past, but it's also the card of karmic cycles and new cycles beginning. That is coming up with the Ace of Cups in reverse. It's the emotional, honest to goodness, it's the thing that is changing is like there's no more emotional confusion going forward. Like there's a self-understanding here that's very interesting to me. With the King of Pentacles in the upright, interesting. And then the Empress in the upright as well, which is the start of new things, new fruitful and bountiful things. Everything that's changing here looks good. Some choices around your emotional well-being are still going to be very much in your hands, but I have like a smoother emotional feeling than has been in the past. I don't know, like for some people you may have undertaken like a self-care regime that is yielding a great deal. There is a resolution around a past relationship for many and the influence it had on how you view yourself emotionally. Your creativity is returning to you in a way, like it's like you did a lot of work to get a lot done. But the King of Wands in reverse with that Empress is the one that's really calling out to me. Because it's almost like somebody is undertaking an action to help you with something that they have anger on for your behalf. Meaning that like somebody intervenes. There's an intervention here in a not bad way. Meaning it's not like, we're staging an intervention to send somebody to rehab or something, but that there's an unknown player entering the scene. Seven of Swords in the upright can be a strategy card with the Temperance card in the upright as well. Now it can be, this is going to be hyper specific. For people who may have encountered someone who took something that belonged to you that they should not have, or lied to you and deceived you, honest to goodness, it looks like there's an intervention on somebody else tries to correct the issue. Because the Temperance card, and it's coming up fairly soon, because that's my Sagittarius season card, but it's the card of things, everything coming out in a balance. It's the card of alchemy, which is like a bad thing, or lead being turned into gold in the traditional sense of an alchemist. And that's a little bit the feeling I have on that. For some people, it's going to be in a work situation where somebody took gross advantage of you, and like you're the person who gets the promotion. It's that type of thing. Is like you may have thought that nobody took note of something that happened to you, but somebody was paying attention. And they're working to correct it. They're working to correct it. There's a correction for something that was done to you purposefully. It's almost like somebody set you up for something or something. It's the strangest thing. Here we go. Let's get a Traveler's card, a Sacred Traveler's card. We'll also get the Wisdom Oracle card. Everybody's going to get one of those. This is a good energy. It's not so much that you're happier. It's that you're more, although I really believe that you are. It's more that you are less at the whim of an emotional situation within. As if you've accomplished something. You've finished out a chapter in, I kind of want to say, relying on self, looking self, understanding self. And what's transforming is your emotional world, where you're no longer confused by your internal world any longer. I'm not going to lie, that King of Cups in reverse is quite frequently a narcissist. And if like a narcissist did you dirty, it looks like they're in line to be done dirty too. Is a little bit what it seems like. Like it's not revenge. It's a form of healing a situation that should not have come to pass in the first place. I have Gates of Triumph, success expands in your life. Well, that's a card we want to see. And it comes with fellow travelers, support is all around you. It's a weird feeling of that. Like there is something or somebody intervening in an unfair situation. Here's what I've really got. Somebody's not really going to get away with something. That's what's transforming, is that there's like, it doesn't come with a legal card, so it's not a legal system thing. But like if somebody has been patting themselves on the back about how there's no payback for something, like they're going to be kicking themselves pretty soon. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 rolls. Do we have 1, 2, 3? For some reason, I have yet to reach for my wisdom oracle. I went for the purple wellness canyon cards. My critic. I am my own critic. Though this is not innately a bad thing, I will strive to be kinder to myself and graciously accept my own constructive feedback. This will allow continued growth in all aspects of my life. It's that. It's like this self-understanding, this not being confused by your emotional world. If you've been depressed, that the clouds are clearing there. If you've been anxious, it's like you know how to care for it. If you've been angry, it's like you know how to recognize the signs so that like it's like a small spark instead of a raging inferno. Beauty. Seeking approval or gazes from others is not important. I seek to define myself in full and not just by my appearance. My beauty is most prominent when I'm living a carefree and happy life unconcerned with others' approval. That is really what I want to say, is that you're simply going to be happier. And by the way, it's not been an easy journey. It's not been an easy journey. This particular, there was a lot of confusion about the depth of emotion around something that like really, okay, so the analogy I want to use, the thing I want to call on is the idea that like everyone's heard of the frog in the water being slowly boiled to death because they don't realize that the temperature is slowly raising and raising and raising, and before they know they're boiling. It is as if you have been the frog in the hot tub and now you're out of it, meaning that you may have been in a situation where you were so used to it that you thought it was normal and now you no longer are. Like happiness returns, except that it's not as temporary as it used to be because there was confusion around caring for your emotional world, and that has been cleared up. That is like, you know your process, you know your methods. I do like that success energy, and I kind of agree with that. I really feel like something that was done to you made somebody else angry. And that like that's, you won't understand the way it's coming to you, by the way. Like there's a correction on that. But it's the birth of new things. The Seven of Swords in its best incarnation is a strategy card. It's also a temporary situation. It can be lies, deceit, and manipulation, but it, honest to goodness, is like if somebody got away with something with you by telling a pack of lies, things that have happened in the interim have revealed them to be the liar and not you. On the back of this is truth be told, as I was shuffling. It really is like the truth is coming out in something. If it didn't already, it will be. And like I said, don't think you understand what's happening when you hear this reading. Like, don't think it's, oh, this person's going to do that. You're not going to be told the details on what's going on with that. If you think you can guess, maybe you're guessing correctly, but that's the thing that you had to learn to let go of, was the need to know all the answers. That was one of the things that was actually making things a little bit worse. Is you weren't thinking of that, but it was a poor emotional coping technique that you've learned to be more in flow. Just be more in flow. Happy, I like that. Thinker, and then yang, that is an action being taken. Time for a nap. I'm going to leave that one out. There is a nice pause. It's like somebody takes an action that gives you respite at long last, that gives you sanctuary. The support is all around you, energy. It's like you have an ally you don't know about. And it's like, if somebody's coming to mind right now, I kind of really want to tell you it's not that person. It's not that person. There is a resolution in an unfair situation in which you were not treated properly. And somebody else really did take notice. And something happened in the interim that if this narcissistic individual, had others convinced that you were the person who was pulling something, like, time told a different tale. I guess I'm saying is that, like, that whatever might have caused that emotional turmoil that you have now learned how to smooth your own seas and calm your own storms, might have, like, the catalyst might have been the situation that I'm seeing. And it's just this time for a nap, this pausing, this reflecting, this settling into an energy that has a lot more peace is what's on this. The shield, you're safe from harm. The minstrel, let your intentions be known. Earth, utilize logic, common sense, and reason. I kind of want to say that it's a security energy around this. Will the person involved here be angry? It looks like it. It looks like whoever is, like, getting called out in some meaningful way, that they will be angry. I'm going to keep taking some cards here, but it does not represent a threat to you. There's a transformation in a situation that, like, I think that you let go of kind of a while ago. Like, I think you got to the point of believing that, like, well, sometimes people just don't get justice. And that, you know, I'm not uniquely afflicted. Like, you took it on the chin after crying a bunch of tears. I'm not laughing because it's funny. Remember, I have a trauma disorder, and it causes me to laugh like that sometimes when I'm bumping into, like, upsetting things. The phrase that's coming through is everything will come out in the wash. Meaning that in the final analysis, if somebody was talking crap about you, you're the person who ended up smelling like a rose. Is just kind of what I've got. What do we have here? We have status quo, like that's the nothing happening energy. Commitment, taking steps, true love. True love can be a self-love card. That is also a card of self-understanding. If you notice, the person is looking into the mirror on things, like being able to take care of self very easily. Can it be like actual love, a true love partnership? Potentially, yes, it can be. I don't have a figure to attach that to on this table. And like that thing where I was saying, where if you're trying to like listen to this and figure out it's going to be this person doing that thing, I do not think it's coming from a direction that you will call. What's really transforming is that by the time this is happening, you're a happier person anyway. You're a happier person anyway. Like you already won. There's not exactly a defeated energy here. It's just that like, hey. The Seven of Swords can be somebody sneaking away, getting away with something. And with that Temperance card, it honest to goodness is like something coming out in a balance anyway. And the thing that just keeps coming through is the thing that fixes it is not something you're going to guess. That you don't need to invest a lot of energy in trying to figure out, well, what could that possibly mean? It's just to accept that there is a last word on something coming, but that it's like you already closed the book by the time you get it. It's a footnote when it used to be the thing that you used to really focus on. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I think it's like you let go of the damage somebody did. By the time that you see this energy coming out with the Temperance card, with the Healing card. You cast a spell with your existence. Boy, that's come out for absolutely everybody. Cross the bridge of happiness. It leads over the depths of your emotions. That is this pile. Is that if your emotional world has been a little bit your foe because it was bringing up all kinds of crap and making you confront things that maybe weren't making you super comfortable, The thing that is really, really changing is that you're returning to a feeling of liking life, being engaged in things. There is, as I said, there's this weird resolution where it's like somebody finally kind of gets theirs, but it's not drawing a ton of attention here. It's kind of like, by the time you're hearing about it, it has a different meaning than it used to you. And it's not that it no longer matters, it's just that it's almost like you can see the worth of the journey it puts you through. And so that by the time you're getting the resolution on that, like I said, you've already closed the book. And does it make you smile? It appears to. It really is. It's like the comeuppance energy on something. It doesn't like seem to involve jail or anything. It just really doesn't. It's just that narcissists care so much about how they're seen by others. And it's like they find out that there's no reclaiming something. That they shot themselves so thoroughly in the foot that it's like, well, I hope you have a good pair of crutches because you've been limping for the rest of your life. It's that type of energy. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it's not something you'll ever feel guilty about, by the way. And again, it's in this very weird form, coming from a strange direction. A year from now, interesting. What are you? Romance. Boy, that card combination has been everywhere. Peaceful resolution. So in a year from now, will you be in a committed relationship? Will you have romance? You did have a true love card. Now, it is possible that it is truly a year from now. That card technically really means that like things will happen over the course of a year. So it can be anywhere from now to a year from now. My sense is it's truly a year from now. That like this is status quo, commitment, taking steps, true love. That like there is like a potential real human being in your life after something's put to rest. And again, the way it's put to rest, it's not like I'm seeing like dollars pour into your bank account on the resolution. As much as it is that you feel like justice finally was served. And again, it does not appear to involve a legal thing. It is just that, yeah, as I said, if somebody was flinging crap at you, all they ever did in the final analysis was make you seem like a really good person and them seem like they're really a marginal person. And because that means so much to them, that's your justice, is that they can't ever fix the situation. They can't ever repair how they are seen in the eyes of others. That it's a very definitive thing. It's a very definitive thing. Support being all around you. It is almost as if you will find out that you had more support in an area than you ever realized. I will say one more thing on this because it really does seem to, the transformation is, it just kind of won't matter to you very much by the time that part comes. What really matters to you is that your emotional world feels so much better. That is what's transforming. It's like you're able to be happy again. Hell yes, hypocrite. That's what I'm getting from this, is that somebody tried to play the victim. And instead, it's becoming, something has made it very, very obvious that they were the perpetrator and not the victim. And again, it does not appear to like have anybody slammed in jail or anything like that, but it's very meaningful to them what they lost in seeking to destroy something for you, like they shot themselves in the foot. With Destiny of the Lotus, Hope Blossom, and then tribe members. Miracle of Health. Something's getting healed. Something's getting healed. Damage that was done to you is going to be healed. And when will this be happening? When you no longer are super invested, and I don't think you are already, it looks to me like whatever happened, you took it and you rolled with it, and it was what it was, and it was horrible at first, and it may have caused a great deal of pain and disruption, but that your emotional world is becoming this rewarding and fruitful place for you. And so what's transforming for you is just that you're going to be happy again. And I just get this very, very weird feeling like you had come to accept that it's like, well, maybe I don't get a happy story. And that you were just doing the best with what you could. Things are improving in that area. Happiness is returning to you. And then as you're happier, as you feel that kind of flow of like life being good again, that's when you find out that something that used to have a lot of meaning to you has been resolved, and that person just poisoned their own well. Coffin, natural endings abound, take care with your health. Moon, pay attention to your intuition at this time and move ahead confidently. Snake, your intuition and healing powers will guide you to a better path, but be careful. And then luck. You are right to be strong and optimistic about the opportunities ahead. The be careful and the intuition, please remember that the idea behind snakes is not just, this can be an attachment energy, it can be warning you of something. It's not on my table. Snakes regenerate. They shed their skins and they begin anew. And honest to goodness, the resolution on something, by the time it comes to you, it's like you don't need it any longer. Like you won't, like, it won't, it will feel exactly right. You know, the whole idea that living well is the best revenge is a little bit like what this feeling is. That this feeling seems to involve, you just kept plugging away at your stuff until you found a way out of your own darkness. So if you're in it right now, know that keep working on it, because it's going to work. You will no longer be confused by your emotional world. You'll feel very secure in who you are, and that you're going to be happier. And it's coming in quickly in that area. And then at a separate point, you finally get word on something, and it just doesn't have a lot of import to you any longer. It just kind of puts a smile on your face to know that you weren't forgotten all this time. Okay? It's a weird one. The real transformation energy is around emotional happiness, a greater feeling of flow, a greater understanding of self, and being able to take care of yourself in a way that yields great results for you. Magician in the Mirror, that's a powerful card. Door to Value, kind of figured that was part of it. The World, and then the door to personal healing and happiness with the Sun, which is a healing energy. If you've been experiencing financial deprivation, it's saying that this will be healed. That something is coming into your life that will heal that particular area of your life. Hey, group number 3, this was an interesting one because the very bulk of it is really about how you went through this punishing cycle trying to heal self. And that's what's really transforming, is like it's like you're going to wake up one day and feel younger and stronger and happier and less challenged from all of the work that you've put in. But separately, there is finally resolution on something that will prove to you that somebody didn't get away with something, that they just didn't get away with something, and that it helps you with your perspective of the worth of the journey that you went on. But the bulk of this reading is about how your personal happiness is coming back to you, and reliably. If it's felt like you've been going uphill for a long time, you're going to be looking down on the valley and smiling a lot, is kind of the energy I've got on that one. Group number 3, a great deal more happiness is coming to you through all of the work that you have done in understanding of self and being able to cope with your inner world and understand your inner world. But then, again, I keep getting this weird footnote energy. You get word on something that cheers you up tremendously about something that went wrong kind of a long time ago. Okay, so that was your reading pile number 3. Thank you so much for joining me. If you want to book me for a private reading, there's a link to my website in the description box down below. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. Take care. Be well.